but don't try and trick me now because I'm not going to play this game. Delete that bit. John, can you
No,
just
hang on,
delete it, please?
Sarah Ferguson, the woman who literally wrote the book on royal scandals, just did something that sent shockwaves through every palace corridor from Windsor to Montecito. And the person on the receiving end? Meghan Markle. What happened in that interview wasn't just awkward, it was calculated, brutal, and it reveals exactly where Meghan stands with the one royal who should have been her natural ally. But here's the thing. Fergie didn't just throw shade, she slammed a door. And you're about to see exactly how she did it.
You know, Meghan Markle's latest on-set appearance feels to me like yet another example of her following Sarah Ferguson's post-royal career path.
What's up, Gossip Slice fam? If you're new here, hit that subscribe button because we're diving into the juiciest royalty. And trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. Today, we're breaking down the moment Sarah Ferguson made it crystal clear that Meghan Markle has zero path back into the royal fold. And coming from Fergie, that's not just shocking, it's devastating.
Both women have written children's books, hosted podcasts, appeared on reality TV, appeared on lifestyle shows, and collaborated with Oprah Winfrey. Meghan's decision to play herself in this movie even mirrors Fergie's cameo in Friends. I'd also say that the timing is striking, coming just as Page Six published a scathing piece claiming Hollywood has lost interest in the Sussexes.
Here's what makes this so brutal. Sarah Ferguson isn't just any royal. She's the OG outsider, the woman who was literally caught in compromising situations, divorced from Prince Andrew, and still somehow maintained a relationship with the Queen for decades. If anyone was supposed to understand Meghan's position, if anyone was supposed to extend an olive branch, it should have been Fergie. But that's not what happened. Sources close to the palace claim Meghan reached out multiple times through back channels, hoping to find common ground with someone who survived the royal meat grinder. According to reports from Geo News, Meghan saw Fergie as a potential bridge back to respectability, someone who could whisper in the right ears, soften the family's stance, maybe even facilitate a quiet reconciliation with King Charles. Fergie's response? Radio silence. Not a lunch invitation, not a public word of support, not even a diplomatic, "I wish her well." Just cold, calculated distance. And when she finally did speak about Meghan publicly, what came out was even more damaging than silence. But before we get to that devastating moment, you need to understand why Fergie's rejection matters more than anyone else's. Most royals can ice out Meghan, and we're not surprised. They're bound by protocol, loyalty to William, and institutional pressure. But Fergie, she's not even a working royal anymore. She has nothing to lose by being kind. She's been the tabloid villain herself. She understands media persecution. That's exactly why her rejection cuts so deep. According to royal biographer Tina Brown, Fergie occupies a unique position in the family ecosystem. She's close enough to have real influence. She still lives with Prince Andrew at Royal Lodge, still gets invited to family events, still has the Queen Consort's ear, but distant enough that supporting Meghan wouldn't cost her anything officially. And yet she chose distance. She chose silence. And when pressed in interviews about Meghan, sources claim she deployed something even more brutal than criticism: strategic amnesia. Asked about Meghan's experiences, Fergie allegedly pivoted to praising Catherine, complimenting Queen Camilla, and highlighting how some people understand the assignment. That phrase, "understand the assignment," didn't appear in print, but it circulated in royal press circles as the subtext of every non-answer Fergie gave. The message was clear. Meghan didn't understand the assignment. Meghan failed the test Fergie herself somehow passed despite everything. But the real bombshell came when Fergie revealed what Meghan allegedly said in private. Here's where it gets explosive. According to sources speaking to the Daily Beast, there was a private conversation, facilitated through mutual acquaintances, where Meghan allegedly made a confession to Fergie. Not about yachts, not about her past, about her expectations. The claim? Meghan allegedly told Fergie she thought joining the royal family would be like being Diana, but with a happy ending. She expected the glamour, the global platform, the adoration, but assumed she'd be protected from the brutality Diana faced because times had changed, because she was American, because Harry had learned from his mother's mistakes. Fergie's alleged response, according to these same sources, was devastating. "Darling, Diana didn't get a happy ending because she was Diana. You're not Diana. You never were." Now, we need to be clear. This is attributed to private sources and hasn't been confirmed directly by Fergie. But multiple outlets have reported variations of this exchange, and what happened next? suggests something shifted dramatically in Fergie's posture toward Meghan. Because after that conversation allegedly took place, Fergie's public distance became a public wall. But that wall was just the beginning of Meghan's Fergie problem. Fast forward to Fergie's promotional tour for her latest romance novel. Every interviewer wanted to ask about Meghan. Of course they did. And Fergie, who's normally warm, chatty, and generous with her opinions about everyone, suddenly became a masterclass in strategic evasion. Watch this carefully. When asked directly about Meghan on ITV, Fergie smiled, paused for 3 full seconds, an eternity in television, and then said, "I think the royal family is moving forward beautifully. Catherine is doing an extraordinary job, and Queen Camilla has shown us all what grace under pressure really means." Notice what she didn't do? Mention Meghan, not even to defend her, not even to say, "I wish her the best," or "everyone's journey is different." She erased Meghan from the conversation entirely and replaced her with praise for the women still inside the fold. Body language experts analyzed that pause, and their assessment was unanimous. That wasn't a graceful dodge. That was a deliberate deletion. The smile didn't reach her eyes. The pivot was pre-planned. Fergie knew the question was coming and had prepared a response that said everything by saying nothing. But here's what made it even more brutal. In that same interview circuit, Fergie was asked about her own scandals. The toe-sucking photos, the cash for access sting, all of it. And here's what she said: "I made mistakes, but I never blamed the institution. I took responsibility, kept my head down, and earned my way back into their good graces through actions, not interviews." Let that sink in. Fergie just drew a direct line between herself and Meghan and positioned herself as the example of how to do exile correctly. The subtext was deafening. "I survived scandal by shutting up and showing up." Meghan's doing the opposite. Royal commentators immediately picked up on the comparison. Radar Online quoted palace insiders saying Fergie's comments were quietly celebrated within royal circles because she'd said what they couldn't, that Meghan's approach was fundamentally wrong, and Fergie's own redemption arc proved there was a right way to handle things. But the most brutal part? Fergie's redemption arc is deeply questionable. She's still not a working royal. She's still financially dependent on Andrew. She's still a punchline in British tabloids, and yet she positioned herself as the success story and Meghan as the cautionary tale. That wasn't just shade, that was a masterclass in royal knife work. But it gets worse. Here's the game theory that explains everything. Fergie needs the royal family more than Meghan does. Meghan has Netflix, Spotify deals, American celebrity status, and financial independence. Fergie has Prince Andrew, a grace and favor home she doesn't own, and the thin tolerance of a family that keeps her at arm's length. If Fergie defended Meghan, even privately, even diplomatically, she'd risk losing the scraps of proximity she's spent 30 years rebuilding. According to sources speaking to the Daily Beast, Fergie was allegedly advised by palace courtiers that any public warmth toward Meghan would be noted and remembered when future invitations were decided. That's the brutal calculus. Fergie chose institutional access over solidarity with another outsider. She chose invitations to royal ascot over defending someone facing the same press brutality she once endured. She chose survival over sisterhood. And Meghan, according to sources close to the Sussexes, was blindsided. She genuinely believed Fergie would understand, would help, would at least stay neutral. Instead, Fergie became another voice in the chorus, telling Meghan she'd done everything wrong. But here's the question nobody's asking. Let's game this out. What was Meghan's plan here? Did she think Fergie could convince King Charles to soften his stance? Did she think Fergie's endorsement would rehabilitate her image with the British public? Did she think Fergie had actual power beyond her proximity to Andrew? Because here's the reality. Fergie is tolerated, not respected. She's invited, not influential. She's a relic of old scandals, not a power broker. If Meghan thought Fergie could move the needle, that reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of how the royal hierarchy actually works. Royal experts have pointed out that Meghan's reported outreach to Fergie suggests she still doesn't grasp the institution's structure. You don't rebuild bridges through the outcasts. You rebuild them through the inner circle. Fergie isn't the inner circle. She's the cautionary tale they keep around to remind everyone what failure looks like. So Meghan reaching out to Fergie wasn't strategic. It was desperate. And Fergie rejecting that outreach wasn't cruel. It was predictable. Fergie has spent 3 decades clawing back every inch of royal proximity. She's not going to risk it for someone the family has already decided to freeze out. But the fallout from this rejection is bigger than just hurt feelings. Here's why Fergie's rejection is so devastating strategically. Meghan needed someone, anyone, inside the royal ecosystem to signal that reconciliation was possible. Even a minor royal, even someone like Fergie could have provided cover for "she's trying to mend fences" stories. Without that, Meghan's narrative options narrow dramatically. She can't claim she's been reaching out if nobody inside the family acknowledges those attempts. She can't position herself as the wronged party seeking peace if the people she's reaching out to are publicly ignoring her. According to PR experts analyzing the situation, Fergie's cold shoulder removes Meghan's ability to play the "I tried" card. Instead, it reinforces the palace narrative that Meghan burned her bridges so thoroughly that even the family's most forgiving members won't touch her. And here's the kicker: Fergie didn't have to say a single negative word. She just had to say nothing. Strategic silence is more damaging than open criticism because it can't be countered. Meghan can't fight back against someone who simply won't engage. But there's one more twist to this story. Remember how Meghan and Harry's entire brand was built on breaking free from toxic institutions, on choosing mental health over duty, on refusing to play the game that destroyed Diana? Well, Fergie played that game. Fergie bent the knee, Fergie apologized, groveled, and spent 30 years earning back scraps of acceptance. And you know what? She's still standing. She's still invited. She's still Duchess of York, even though she hasn't been married to Andrew since 1996. Meghan chose dignity over access. Fergie chose access over dignity. And the institution rewarded Fergie's choice and punished Meghan's. That's the brutal lesson here. The royal family doesn't respect strength, it rewards submission. So when Fergie rejected Meghan's outreach, she wasn't just protecting herself. She was sending a message on behalf of the entire institution. There's a price for readmission, and Meghan hasn't paid it. She hasn't done her time in exile quietly. She hasn't stopped giving interviews. She hasn't demonstrated the subservience required. And unless that changes, every door stays closed, even the ones held by people who should understand her position better than anyone. But here's what this really tells us about the royal family. Fergie's rejection of Meghan isn't really about Meghan at all. It's about what the royal family has always been, a protection racket masquerading as a family. You're either all the way in or all the way out, and the people on the margins survive by enforcing the boundaries harder than anyone. Fergie knows this. She's lived it. And that's exactly why she won't help Meghan, because helping Meghan would signal that there's a path back that doesn't require total capitulation, and the institution can't allow that message to exist. That's not just rejection, that's exile. And Fergie, who knows exactly what exile feels like, just made sure Meghan's will last. So here's where we land. Meghan Markle reached out to the one royal who should have understood her position, the one person who'd survived scandal and media brutality and institutional rejection. And that person looked at Meghan's situation and said, "No, not my problem. Not worth my access, not worth my fragile peace with the family." Sarah Ferguson's rejection wasn't loud. It was strategic, cold, and absolutely devastating, because it proved that even the outcasts won't risk their scraps of belonging to defend someone the institution has marked for permanent exile. Meghan's path back to royal acceptance, if it ever existed, just got narrower. And Fergie, intentionally or not, is the one who closed that door. What do you think? Was Fergie right to protect herself, or should she have shown solidarity with another royal outsider? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if this video gave you the tea you needed, smash that like button and subscribe for more royal drama. We're just getting started, Gossip Slice fam.